AI, it's literally everywhere right now.
If I'm an IT director and I'm thinking, hey, I need something I can do this week, let's start organizing just your mailbox. Open up your Claude, connect it to Office 365 and say, hey, Claude, summarize my mailbox. Give me a morning report every morning. It will do that. For all of our listener viewers, I urge you to adapt to these tools. Make yourself so marketable so when you go in, you can say, hey, I can do XYZ for a company where it used to take 10 people. Now, hey, I can do that.
Hey guys, this is Michael and Jay here with the IT Directors Podcast. Good morning, my man.
What is going on, bud? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Today. How are you doing, Jay?
Look, it's great. We're in our new studio here. You know, our marketing team here at Clearwinds is the best marketing team in the business. I mean, look, this place is phenomenal. So we got a new setting for our listeners and our viewers. Excited about this podcast,
Oh yeah,
man.
I mean, I know I might be a little biased, but I love this team we get to work with, and even having the ability to work with this team to address our audience and topics that actually matter today. So what we're going to be talking about today is how AI can help your business. So Jay, I've known you long enough to know that you, my friend, like you got Claude, you got ChatGPT, you got them all in each one of the pockets, and you can fire off wisdom for days.
Hey, look, I love the tools. You know what I mean? You know, they, especially in my role here in the sales engineer role at Clearwinds and helping all of our customers and all of our partners, you know, having these tools is critical. Yeah. So I love them.
I definitely agree. And AI, it's literally everywhere right now. I see a lot of businesses talking about it. I see a lot of commercials. It is now a part of everyday life. I don't feel like the understanding is there yet from everyone and how to use it. What does it look like and how can it be a useful tool to me? But it's in every conversation just about. And so if we're talking about what it looks like in business, when you look at an actual business and having the ability to incorporate AI into that business, what are you seeing right now?
That's a great question. So, you know, when you talk about it, most people, right, even in business, up until probably 6 months to a year ago, they were using AI like Google, like really advanced search, right? But now in business, we're seeing people using it to automate processes, right? To make life simpler for their own employees. You know, whatever you do manual, in terms of manual, what I mean is like importing, exporting, scheduling, follow-up, email organization. I'm seeing all of that shift to using AI tools to do that. It doesn't mean that, hey, we're replacing those people. Yeah. It just means that we're making our lives more proficient, you know, and I'm seeing that in business a lot.
Yeah. I like to see things like in terms of like you've got the growth curve and you got your early adopters. Where do you feel like we're currently at on that curve?
I think we're really early on because I feel like 2 and 3 years ago, ChatGPT really came on strong, hit the market. But with Claude, over the last 6 months, Claude is really catapulted in the business sector. You know, even us, you know, internally at Clearwinds, that's our standard enterprise tool that we're using across our organization. But I really feel like we're just on the uphill. Yeah. You know, we're just gaining traction on this because I think we're just scratching the surface of how great it can be to help organizations and help businesses. So, you know, we're developing our own AI practice for companies and organizations around that. But we really did that with ourselves internally and then developed some tools. And now we're saying, hey, we can replicate this and help our customers and help people. So I think we're getting up that hill right now. We're there.
Yeah. With us being in that place where we're still on the front end of it, I think that means there's a lot of people it might not have resonated with yet for how do I actually use this? And so for that person, that is, hey, you might be somewhat aware of it. You might have dabbled with it a little bit. What would you say to those people that are in that place where they're trying to figure out what do I do? What's my next step?
Hey, that's a great question because having an evaluation, right? Like doing an overview. So have an initial meeting internally with your team. You know, let's find out like, hey, what are we doing right now? Let's kind of document our processes. And I think a lot of organizations, especially small to medium businesses, they just do stuff and they've been doing it so long and they don't really document it, right? And so
Call that tribal knowledge.
Yeah, tribal, exactly. Yes. And just documenting, putting SOPs around what you're currently doing. And then let's evaluate that framework and see if we can automate those things. Meet with your HR team. Hey, what are you doing import export wise? What are you doing manually? Meet with your payroll team. Meet with your customer facing team. Meet with, if you're a production, like what are we doing? What does that look like? So find out those things that you're doing, and let's build a framework around that, and pick one or two small tasks, small things that you can automate. And when I say automate, I don't mean alleviate or radically change. It could be simply having a spreadsheet. So take, for instance, a company that has let's look at an HVAC company, right? That has a fleet of HVAC, a fleet of vehicles with all their HVAC techs going out servicing all of the whole Southeast. Like, how are they maintaining those vehicles? I bet it's on a spreadsheet and with, yellow, red, oil changes, tire change, all these things, right?
Yeah.
Because most people don't have a fleet maintenance software. If you're a small, medium company, you're just doing it on spreadsheets and different things.
I mean, in some of those companies, like, hey, you've got some crazy amount of money to pay for a software where
Absolutely.
It's hard to justify that type of cost.
No, it is. So, hey, let's evaluate that. Let's take that spreadsheet. Let's put it in Claude. Hey, develop me a dashboard around this. So now we have a dashboard around our fleet maintenance that we didn't have to go out and buy. So we can house it internally and then kind of make us more proficient and let's build notifications off of that. So that's one thing, but just, pick one thing to say, hey, we're going to try to get better at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's hone that in.
Yeah. And I think that's key. The evaluation aspect is key. Personally, even to drive it home, how would you even tell someone to think differently? Because I think that's one of the big things is, hey, each season you might have some new advances.
Oh, yeah.
And when you've got those new advances in technology or what have you, you have to start to approach it differently. So to even make it hit home more so, how do you start to think differently about it? So yes, the evaluations when you're looking at your business practice, but even like what are some things that help you think differently about it?
Well, just doing a self-evaluation, right? Like, what am I doing daily? Yeah. And, why have I always done this the same way? Because, look, in business, we know that. Well, I've always, Michael, I've done this for 22 years this way. Yeah. Well, does it mean it's right or wrong? Or do we have any data around that? Do we have any results? So, like, really evaluating what you do, and so in my role here, in my previous role, I had to evaluate some things we were doing manual and like, you know what, I really could automate that. So we use some AI tools to do that. Now it's freed up that team. Now they're doing innovative things. And so, just do a self-evaluation and say, you know what, I got to change the way I'm thinking because, right now, like I said, we're on that uphill. But in a year and a half, 2 years, and 3 years, if you don't adapt and change, things will pass us up and people will come more marketable in the business environment that use these tools. So I think we got to just adapt the way we think, just like the internet. When the internet came out, selling things on the internet was mind blowing. Yeah. Amazon, they sold books at first. Now you buy toilet paper, toothpaste, a car, an engine, anything on Amazon, right? So you have to change and adapt, to the way you think.
I've got things on subscription at this point. Me too. I don't even have to ask for it. It just shows up the door. I don't know if that's always great.
Hey, my wife gets groceries through Amazon, through Whole Foods now. I mean, like my thing is like, it's just endless on the adapting, what I mean? So we have to be a little fluid in our mindset,
I think you definitely have to be fluid in it and accept the fact that, hey, it's here. It is definitely here. And if you choose to ignore it, like you said, I think the times will pass you by. And I think that's what I gather when I'm talking to people. Some people seem to be digging their feet in. I'm sure it was the same thing, like when computers were first becoming a tool. I'm sure there were the people who dug their feet in, but at some point you adapt to the change that's here. So this is a change that's here. It is something that can make a tangible difference. And even some things that we were talking about, like a real life change that we have seen where it's impacted businesses. It's been with asset management and not tracking what we're talking about. So with how can AI even help big picture of wrapping your hands around what you have your organization, like the assets, the tools, the different things that you have? Because I know that's one that we've seen specifically.
Oh, that's a great question. And so organizations have tons of different data sources, right? You have an ERP system. You might have an asset system it's a spreadsheet, or you might have it in a software system. You might have a ticketing system, a billable. So, all these different variables and data, right? So AI can help tie all of that data together and make leadership have strategic decisions based off data, not what they think. And not off of human element. Because sometimes as humans, we're emotional.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, hey man, Michael, he's the best podcast host I've ever seen. But let's look at the data. Yeah, let's look at the data. Like, hey, are we helping our customers? Are we getting a lot of views? Are we getting a lot of clicks? And that's where those AI tools really help, because we can take all these data sources and then we can make educated decisions.
Yeah.
And I think for leaders, especially COOs, CFOs, presidents of companies, they don't want to be in the weeds. They just want a dashboard with all this stuff. And I think that's where in organizations using those tools to tie all that together to make strategic decisions, because sometimes as humans, what we think is really not reality, And so I think that's one thing I've seen is keeping it practical and really, really looking at the data and tying those sources together.
Yeah, I think, hey, taking the bias out of it, that's one thing it absolutely does. It takes the bias out of it. And then two, we're talking about the human element. And I think that's where some fear kicks in, as some people are concerned about the human element. So I'm glad you bring that up as well.
Yeah, no, it is, and man, I'm seeing it shift. We talked on one episode about medical coders. So in the field of in medical, in insurance, like that was a whole practice around medical coding. Now, I don't know if we're going to need medical coders in the future. We might need one that can manage an AI tool that can code 100 different cases, right? And so that's an instance of that job morphing, over into using an AI tool. There's a lot of things that were 10 and 15 years ago that I think are not existing even right now. That has nothing to do with AI. It just because business is evolving, technology is evolving, us as people are evolving. So, using the data and all these things, companies have tons of data, Michael, but they really don't know how to organize that.
Yeah.
Take like what we do at Clearwinds, like what you're our marketing and sales director, and you use data from marketing campaigns, from emails, from, customer, from your sales team.
Yeah.
You have a lot of data sources, but we have tools that you use to give accurate reports and dashboards, and you can make strategic decisions. We can, and so I think that's where we go in, is how can companies get this AI and turn it into data that's something that we can act on, which is really key. You know what I mean?
No, I think that's definitely a key point of it, is having one. It can help you to read the data for me, I know we're using, marketing and sales, for example. One of the ways that we also use it to help enrich the data that we have. And so there's things that take us, it would take hours and hours and days.
Oh, yes.
We've got thousands of contacts that we work with, but we can use some of these tools to help us create tailored messages for our people and different audiences. Because our goal and hey, we want to help people. We want to help people. We want to give them relevant information. We want to, our mission is to help others be successful at their own mission. And we handle the whole IT aspect of that. And so one of the things we've been able to do is to take these tools and enrich the data to make sure we're sending key targeted messages to our right people at the right place. And so that way, when they're ready to make those decisions, they've got all the information that they need and they're ready for it. And being able to incorporate AI into what we're doing, it has simplified that process.
Oh,
yeah, there's still a human element. Yeah, we still got to have, our creative. We have to have our brains. We can still utilize our brains to be able to interpret the data, but it can help exponentially increase what we're doing.
I thought about something when you said that, because I think for a lot of our listeners and viewers, a lot of people have the assumption, right, or kind of the false idea around, like, AI makes us dumb. Like, man, we're going to produce this whole next generation of people that are not smart, that are not intelligent. I actually feel different. Because I use these tools daily. I support you. I support our team. it actually makes me smarter because I have access to more information.
I think that's the key part, because when I hear somebody say that, they're operating on an assumption that I'm now no longer going to use my own reasoning capabilities.
No, yeah.
I think it's a faulty assumption. If that's the practice of what people are doing, then hey, I'd agree with you. But they're using it incorrectly.
Yeah, like, so I have access to way more data, right, that I can vet because of my knowledge in the industry. I can vet and make sure, okay, this is right, this is wrong, but it makes me so much more knowledgeable and more productive. So I think using these tools to help create more knowledge for yourself is the key, right? And I think that's one thing that I think is a big misnomer. And so you hit on that, but that's the human element, right? So like my historical knowledge of being an engineer and running a data center and all this stuff, when I do searches and I do tools and use AI, I can tell because of my human knowledge if it's right or wrong, and if it's factual. And look, the AI data it produces, it's not factual, but it's sometimes geared towards different answers because it's just looking at data. So it helps me to do that. So that's really good.
Yeah. I know another big area what we've talked about where AI plays a huge part is workflows and how it can automate different workflows. I think that's one of the key things that we've seen when we've been working with other businesses is how it can help you just from that standpoint. So what have you seen from a workflow?
Man, so how is AI changing like how teams actually work day to day? Man, I see this every day in our organization. I mean, think about some of the tools that we've developed internally about how we do SOWs or quoting or marketing campaigns and different things. But just for me, like I'll just talk isolated to my role. So we have a managed service quoting tool that we developed. Before, we took a spreadsheet, we did some calculations, we had to do a lot of manual. Now we have a tool that we built with AI that gives a great summary to tailor to our customers, and it has different packages that we've created, right, that we put our human element into, but it gives us that return and creates an awesome proposal.
Oh yeah, and hey, I'll be one of the ones to say first, I love that. And could it make me nervous about, is that going to take away from some of my value as a contributor and a leader on the team? I mean, I can see why somebody might have that insecurity that would come up, but in reality, what this has enabled us to do as an organization, there are some key pieces that don't necessarily need to have a 20, 30-minute conversation. They don't need, if I'm in a meeting, I don't need people waiting on me to get some of the information. But you've been able to build a tool that it's basically become a knowledge base, and our team can utilize that, and it helps them get what they need when they need to be more successful. And our CEO talks a lot about speed of business. This is a tool that's been created with AI, utilizes AI, and it helps our speed of business tremendously.
Oh, tremendously. I mean, that's how I've seen that change how our day-to-day work is done. But take the guy that's the electrician. He's going out and doing a site visit for a customer. Used to, they'd be like, hey, I got to give you an estimate, Michael. And 2 days later, they'd give you this estimate. But now they all have tools on their little iPad when they come out to your home and do. I mean, what do you think's running that tool, right? It's an AI-driven app probably, right, in the background, or a web-powered app with some AI. Now they can deliver these estimates on site based on stuff they've already predetermined. So I think that's how it's changing day to day, people's lives.
Definitely. So it's absolutely a tool, and I use it even myself as an example, just because I can see why someone would go down the path to think, hey, this tool can impact my value as a contributor. I can see why you would arrive at that assumption. At the same time, it is a tool that can help tremendously. And if you can learn how to use it and adapt with it, my goodness, the impact that you can make.
Oh, 100%.
So it is exponential. But look, for those who are still in that place that they're concerned, because I know we're talking about the human element. That's what I see. You hear the stories about what happened with Facebook, and you hear the stories about what happened with others who roles have been changed because of how AI has automated things that it might make them feel like, hey, their roles are obsolete. For those who are on that side, that they're still concerned, what would you tell that person?
I would tell you, just be patient and watch, right? So I do a lot of research in our industry and follow a lot of, Fortune 500 companies. and a lot of these companies have laid off like thousands of people because, when AI first really the last year and a half, I mean, it's been out for a couple of years, but like the last year and a half, these companies think, hey, we can eliminate 1,000 people. We use these tools.
Yeah.
And now they're bringing a lot of that workforce back because what they're realizing is, yes, these tools can eliminate some old, kind of antiquated personnel. But also, you got to have people to manage these tools. And so I think we're seeing that shift. While it can automate, you still have to have people and resources. So I think it just shifts what you do. You know?
There's always a cause and effect. And I think we can be quick to jump to conclusions on either side of that. One of the stories that's going around right now is how Walmart is doing away with automated cash registers and stuff.
Hallelujah.
I know, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Those things are so annoying. And my kids think it's a game and they'll just try to put some money into it. I'm like, hey, chill. Yeah, it'll come back, but leave it alone.
Yeah.
But they have decided to do away with some of those, and they're changing. That was a new, when they first brought out those automated cashiers and those whole systems, it changed that line of business.
That is such a great point. Hey, look, a lot of us go to Walmart all the time. I'm all the big box stores, like whatever it may be, Costco, Sam's, Walmart. In Walmart, they have 20 of the self-checkout registers. All right. And I noticed lately, when you say that, they won't have them, they'll have them roped off. And I'm thinking, why do we have all these self-checkouts? But because what they found, what the data showed is people didn't want to go through the self-checkouts. Then it became more difficult. If I'm going through buying some apples and oranges and then someone's buying a bottle of wine, you scan the wine and it's like, big red thing comes, you got to be 21. So then they got to have a light. So like it made it more difficult. So, and then they had to have people standing at the self-checkout to help people. So what are we doing? You could have had a real register then.
And so I feel like there is that cause and effect. When something is introduced and you, like you said, be patient as well, learn how to use the tool. It doesn't mean that, hey, you yourself no longer have value to contribute. Hey, it's going to shift. And so
it's going to shift.
Learn, grow, shift with it as it shifts.
And I think for our listeners and viewers, because everyone is in this space right now. Hey, the economy is changing, shifting. There's ups and downs all the time, right? In our economy, and AI will eliminate some jobs, 100%. It will, but also AI will create more jobs.
And that's the thing.
And that's the thing. And hey, so for all of our listener viewers, I urge you to adapt to these tools. Make yourself so marketable. So when you go in, you can say, hey, I can do XYZ for a company where it used to take 10 people. Now, hey, I can do that. So then because you are more valuable now, you know what I mean? And so I think that's where the true gain is in the real practicality of it. That's what I've seen. We talked about NVIDIA, and James and I, our program developer, we were talking about this. In Claude, you have tokens that, the more you do, the more tokens you use, kind of a monthly, like a billing system with them. Their senior level chip developers, they make $500,000. They're high level guys, right? The CEO of NVIDIA said if his senior programmers are not using $200,000 or more in Claude tokens, then he fires them. What does that tell us? Like, people want you to use these tools because they know the more of these tools you use, the more productive and then the more you can make the organization. So I think that's a great real practicality, is like, don't be afraid to use these tools,
And I think that's the big part of it. Hey, for our audience, the IT director, whether small, large organization, whatever size, whatever industry, one of the goals that we have is helping shine a light on, like, hey, it is here. We have seen, we've encountered all the business. We've encountered just about any different type of business you can think of. Those who are adopters, those who think it's ushering in the end of the world. Whatever camp you're in, our goal is showing, hey, it is here. It's not going anywhere. What can you do about it? And so for that IT director who is in that place of, hey, I realize this is something that I need to accept, what do you say, like, their next steps? Like, what would you tell them?
Great question. So if I'm an IT director and I'm thinking, hey, like, I don't need a multi-year plan. I don't need this big, 4-phase, 3-phase, 5-phase plan. I need something I can do this week. I'm saying, hey, let's meet with my team. Let's start organizing just your mailbox. Let's use Copilot that'll organize your mailbox and your calendar for you. Let's show them how to do a daily summary from Claude. open up your Claude and say, connect it to Office 365 and say, hey, Claude, summarize my mailbox. Give me a morning report every morning. It will do that. Hey, when I'm directly mentioned, when you say Jay in the email, I want that to the top. Give me, start with small little tasks. And you think, Jay, it's just organizing my mailbox. Well, hey, if you're a sales rep, like our sales reps, that's huge. Some of our sales rep gets literally hundreds of emails a day, right?
I know I have hundreds.
Yeah.
That I have to purge and go
through. And so what if you miss an important email from a customer or client where you're directly mentioned, like, Michael, I have this $2 million PO I'm trying to get done, but we have a question and you don't see it for 2 days. And then we don't get the $2 million PO. And then the customer doesn't get what they need. But hey, if you can just start with a small task, I mean, that's very small. And you think, what is that doing? But that's freeing up your time to do better at everything you should be doing. Because I really feel like it's something this has to do with AI, but it's kind of, me and James, our program director, were talking about this, but email used to be like, that was the form of communication. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I emailed Michael, he responded. Now it's really, people don't even read their emails, but they don't read their emails because they get so many and they don't have time to organize them. But emails are important because it's a business communication. But then people went to Slack and to Teams and all these different things. What we're finding is people like to text. If you get a text, the data shows, I've done all these studies. I told my team this in my previous role. You will read 99% of the text you get because it's a personal. If someone texts you, they have your number, number one. Anyone can get your email, but not everyone can get your number. So if you get a text, you're going to read it. Well, the data shows like people read like 30% of their emails. My wife, married to an IT guy, you can pull up her iPhone right now. She's got like 35,000 unread emails. It makes me twinge. It makes me twinge.
The same exact thing. My wife, she has so many of those little unread things. And sometimes like I'll just want to get her phone and just like click read over and over just to make the little red dot disappear.
For those of y'all know me, I'm highly OCD. So if you send me something, I'm going to respond. That's just a personality flaw of mine. Like I'm very responsive, but also that can be a negative because I spend so much time responding, and I'm not doing what I need to do. That's why the email automation for an IT director is awesome. Huge. It's huge. And,
I think that's big.
So that's just one small thing, but pick something that you can automate, whether it be a spreadsheet, an import, export, if you have an FTP, import, export, whatever that may be for that IT director, pick something that you can automate and undo that manual task.
No, I think that's awesome.
So that's just one advice I have.
No, I think that's good. And I think we got to let's do both sides justice. So like, hey, if this is one side of the road, I won't call it a ditch. One side of the road is how can we learn how to use it? The other side of the road is those who might have jumped in too quickly and have stepped into and potentially made some mistakes along the way because they might not have used it in the best possible way. Have you seen any examples?
100%. Hey, I've been in both boats, right? So in my role here, I had to use it to develop SOWs and scopes of work and, different things. And sometimes I would let it develop it and then I wouldn't fully vet it because, hey, I am busy and I am doing things and I'm like, oh man, crap, we don't need it. No, that's not what I wanted. Let me go back and edit that. So there are some things. That's why the prompt engineering that James talked about on the other episode, and that's why vetting what you use it for, like vetting the tools and just making sure you don't fail because like, hey, we don't want to end up with a failed project that no one uses. We want to roll something out to our team that we know this will help them. But that comes with just doing a little research and a little recon in the background.
That comes from experience.
Experience,
so
correct.
It's definitely the experience with it. And so I think that's something that you learn from. And just like how we were saying, like cause and effect, you start to use it, you understand the true benefit of it, and then how it works and how you can incorporate that.
I'll give you a real world example of just life. This is away from business and IT, but this is a great example of the question you asked. So I'm going to a conference later on this summer. I love to hike. I'm a big national park hiker guy. I love hiking. I go every weekend. So my son and I wanted to go visit National Park. I said, hey, going to Las Vegas, I want to go to Grand Canyon. I had no idea that Zion National Park and Bryce National Park were within kind of a circular 3 to 4 hours of Las Vegas. I used OpenAI. I said, hey, I'm traveling. Please develop a plan for me to go visit these national parks in 3 days before my conference starts. It gave me this detailed thing. I mean, all the way to like packing snacks. It says, "Hey,
Come on.
get snacks at the
You
airport."
send me a little snack list.
Yeah.
You'll win me over.
I mean, yeah, it says get snacks at the airport, rent your car, stay here, do that. I mean, I was blown away.
Yeah.
But that's how using a tool.
Yeah.
Because hey, now I'm taking a great kind of expedition with my son that I never would have even planned. I was just going to go to the Grand Canyon and come back. But now I'm thinking, hey, now I can go to 3 different places.
Yeah.
So that's why using that, and now it's an exciting adventure and different things. But it's the same way in work
Oh, that's awesome.
and in business. Like we want to wrap our arms around it, feed it the right data, get it, and then we present it to our team. It doesn't fail. You know, you don't want, the worst thing is we can come in and say, hey, Michael, we're automating everything for your marketing team. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then our marketing stuff is awful, you know, and then it fails. And then we got to reel back and think. So I think that's where you got to have kind of a hybrid, like just like a car is a hybrid. And, you know, I'm not knocking EVs. Okay. But I'm just telling you, there's a reason why electric vehicles are not everywhere.
Well, and I think that's another thing. It's like, hey, with this advent of EVs, everybody rolled out, they're only going to be EVs. Well, okay, hey, fast forward, we've learned some, I won't call it cause and effect, but we have learned how where it can fit, where the interest is, and how it can be an asset to us.
And this is a great example. And I love electric vehicles. Like I thought about buying a Tesla just to drive back and forth to work, a little like commute, but there's one charging station from my home to downtown, and I live in the most populated area in Birmingham. Yeah. That tells you something. Yeah. Okay, there's a reason why hybrids are way more popular than EVs, and it's because you can get gas everywhere, but also it has a battery to help get more mileage. It's the same way with AI. I think we take a hybrid approach in business. We don't go in and just rip everything out and say, we're doing AI everything. Yeah. We incorporate it into our daily life, and we become a hybrid type employee where I use AI every day, but I also use my human element every day. Yeah. And when I say human element, I mean my reasoning, my emotions, my common sense, right?
I think that's the big picture of learning how to use it as an asset.
Yes.
So, well, hey, I know there is a lot more that we can talk about. I know we will. But we appreciate you sharing your experience. And your wisdom.
Absolutely.
And also, hey, we appreciate you guys joining us today. But for now, this has been Michael and Jay with the IT Directors Podcast, and we are out. Hey, thanks for joining us today on the IT Directors Podcast. We're so glad you joined us. Look, go follow us on all social media platforms. The IT Directors Podcast, powered by Clearwinds. And look, if you want more information, check out our website, clearwinds.net. We're going to have show notes, special guest bios. We're going to have reels. Our marketing team has done a fantastic job. Go check this out. We're so thankful that you joined us today.